Hey guys, Willie and Murfitt here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Now we've reached near enough the end of the front brake refurbishment. Today we're going to fit the disc, the caliper, the pads, the flexi hose. The flexi hose we got is an amazing braided one. Just here, so just come to get that. And let's get this stuff installed. Let's get going.
I know you don't love me like you say you do.
Okay, so we made it to the very last episode of the brake overhaul. So, I'm going to clamp the hub into the vise and then just place the disc on the top. I am super excited to see what these are going to look like when they're all installed, because they just look phenomenal in the box, and I've done a lot of work to get them to where they are now. So with the caliper, you want to make sure that the caliper you're fitting is the correct side. You can tell this by having the bleed nipple at the top. The kit comes with new bolts, so you've got a bolt, a spring washer and a flat washer, and the flat washer goes against the caliper, the spring washer against the head of the bolt, and they're all tightened down. Now I've done these with a ratchet, but I did torque them down, but I just didn't film that part of the process. I will put on the screen the torque settings for these caliper bolts, so you can see exactly how tight they've got to go. Typically, a lot of people do not torque these up. They just do them what is called FT, which I can allow you to work that out. Next up, we fit the Mintex brake pads. Now, two of these have brake wear warning sensor wires, and I've kept them on because I wasn't sure if Gareth's going to be using the this sort of sensor for his Honda engine. It turns out he's not, so they can be chopped off. But I put a little bit of copper grease on the sides of the brake pads, just so they can freely move back and forth inside that anodized caliper. Some people don't do this, some people do it. I've always, any part of the pad that's going to be moving, I've always put a bit of copper grease on. Next up, the pad retaining pins go put in place, and they slide through, and then the ends of them get bent over. So let's put them through for now, and I'm now going to fit the new braided flexi hose. That's got a washer, a copper washer in between the hose and the caliper, and that's just nipped up. And I'm again going to tighten that again. I'm not sure if I filmed this, probably didn't. But let's just make sure that it's nice and tight, it's not going to have any leaks. So the longer part of the pin, I'll just get there with some pliers and then bend that over. That's really difficult trying to do this without damaging that caliper, because any mark that gets on it will be there for forever. So I just need to make sure that the pin doesn't move, and then retaining pins are sorted. So here is the finished article, and I think it looks really, really good. What do you reckon? Okay, so before we move across to the other side, I just want to make sure that the disc rotates without any grinding noises or any sort of bad sounds, and the pads move freely back and forth. This is looking pretty good, so I'm super happy, and what I'm going to do is just clean off any excess copper grease, any marks, any dust, any dirty handprints, and then I can release it from the vise. And what I'll do is, when it's not in the vise, I'll just hold it up in the air in sort of the position it will be sat in the car, and then just give it a twist just to make sure that there's no noises again. If there are any noises now, then it's obviously not great, so but no, that is absolutely perfect. So put it to one side and let's crack on with the other side. I fell. Right, okay, so the brakes are now complete. They are ready for collection, and Gareth, I believe, is on his way up. There's a few things I need to check before they go onto the car. So first of all, we're going to go for ball joints. Now the ball joints, top and bottom, need to be located and torqued down to specification, which is fine. That's pretty straightforward and simple to do. Next up is the drive shaft. So the drive shaft will come through. And I've got one here. Yes, I have. So the drive shaft itself will go through and it will locate onto the splines here, onto the splines on the shaft. The castle nut, or the coned washer, will go in place, and the castle nut will then torque down to settings and then be secured with a split pin. Now, to actually get that seated properly, you remove the coned washer, use a specially designed flat washer, you put that in place, and you torque down the castle nut. Once that's to specification, you remove the nut, remove the washer, install the spacer, install your nut back up, split pin through, and that is done. It just needs to make sure that the bearing itself is correctly seated. If it's not, then you may have issues going forward. So I've connected up all the brakes. Let's just spin this round so you can see the back. The bleed nipple is at the top, so that's to make sure that any air in the system rises to the top and that can be bled through. That's fine. And this flexi hose needs to go through the subframe, and this nut at the top needs to be secured onto the top of the subframe. Now I believe the Minitech subframe uses the same style of securing as the standard subframe, but if it doesn't, then obviously that needs to be secured correctly before it goes anywhere. The back nuts have been torqued to specification. I did, however, forget to film that, unfortunately. The pads are all located fine, that's all good, they're all lubricated. So yeah, steering arm needs to get secured on, torqued down, and that is everything fine and dandy. And off the top of my head, I cannot think of anything else that needs doing at this time. I tell a lie, the ball joints need to be greased, which I might just add some grease into it now, if I can find my grease gun. But I'm super happy with how these turned out. Minisport done a fantastic job of making these brakes. There have been a few modifications along the way, but overall I am super happy with how the job's gone.
I don't know.
Are you excited?
Buzzing. I'm like a little bee.
Let's right. Ready?
I'm ready.
Master cylinder. I won't throw the brakes like that.
I'll throw the brakes. Beautiful.
You need to back the f up.
Should I video that 2-year-old so back the truck on?
Right. Over to you then, mate.
So, this is great. So I've come to Wales to have a look what's underneath this, and I've heard my brakes are done, so wow, look at those. They are pretty. They are very nice, aren't they?
Very heavy.
Very heavy. But they are very nice. Very nice.
Awesome. So what you need to do, make sure the ball joints are torqued.
Yep.
Make sure the hub nuts all torqued up properly.
Yeah, definitely.
Everything else is torqued, tight, you know, it's as it is, should be. The brake wear sensor, I don't know if you're going to be running that on the Honda. Possibly cut it off, you don't need it really. Other than that,
It's beautiful.
all yours.
Happy days. I'm going to keep the box. Not really, I'm going to bring the crate back afterwards.
Yeah, disinfect it first though.
I will, yeah. Got to bleach.
Right, that's Gareth going, he's got his brakes. He seems to be pretty happy, pretty keen. And it's time now to get in the house. So if you have enjoyed the content, please hit the thumbs up button, comment down below, and if you can, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out any future content. I'm definitely going in now. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching.